Welcome to Sip, Sell, Repeat, the real estate podcast for women who know success is best served with a great cup of coffee or a well-earned glass of wine. I'm Dr. Cynthia Tant, your go-to real estate expert, here to help you navigate the market with strategy, style, and a little bit of fun. Whether you're flipping your first property, scaling your portfolio, or just dreaming about your next big move, this is the place for you. So grab your drink of choice, settle in, and let's sip, sell, and repeat our way to success. Let's get started. It's a great day here because I am very excited to have Lizzy Conroy to join us at Sip, Sell, Repeat. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Dr. Cynthia Tant in Pensacola, Florida, and Lizzy comes to us by way of, it's the DMV, is that correct?
Yeah, the DMV and
Okay.
specifically in McLean, Virginia. So right outside DC. Yeah.
DC. So, but I did read where you have your license in all three areas.
Yes, correct.
Oh my gosh. So you're a principal, from what my understanding is, of the HBC Group in Serhant. Is that how?
Correct. That's
Correct?
right. Yes.
Okay. And that's in McLean, Virginia.
Yes.
And we talked earlier that my brother lived over there in Leesburg. So I know, I don't know the area that well, but I visited a number of times. Your real estate group has ranks in number 5 medium-sized team in Virginia. That's awesome.
Mhm.
Produced over 2 billion in its lifetime sales. And
Yes.
so since 2009, you've represented hundreds of clients, I'm sure, and have been
Yes.
very recognized annually because of that. For in the Washingtonian magazine,
Washingtonian.
Northern
Yeah.
Virginia magazine, Real Trends is a
Yes.
top producer.
Yes.
Boy, you've got a lot going on. And philanthropy and working with the community leadership. So we want to find a little bit about you, what drives you, and let's see what we can let everybody know about you. So Lizzy, start off. Give us a little bit of your background. I do want you to talk about the early days of being a gymnast, just to let us know. Go for it.
So I grew up in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and there's a book called Boomtown, if you've ever heard about it, but it's this great story about how Oklahomans have always sort of been very aspirational. And like, for example, we were the city that I think it was back like in the 50s when they were testing the sonic boom. And they were like, we'll do it. We'll take it on. We always wanted something bigger and better. Okay, so then fast forward to this past year, the Oklahoma City Thunder won the NBA championships. Okay.
Yeah.
That journey has been going on for decades and decades in that. And I grew up in the 80s in Oklahoma City. And I remember I was a gymnast and I was very talented at a young age. And I sort of accelerated my career to the point of qualify. I was on the USA Gymnastics women's junior national team with very well-known gymnasts such as Shannon Miller, Dominique Dawes, Kim Zmeskal, all of these Olympians. I never got to the Olympics. I think that just was not God's path for me. But what it taught me, growing up in Oklahoma City, there's a lot of sort of grit, right? Because you want to be on the big stage, right? They as a town, they always wanted to be like, we want to win. We want an NBA team. Now we want to win a championship. Well, they finally did it. Now they're the only city outside of LA that's going to host Olympic events in 2028. So that sort of aspirational drive from my roots and as a gymnast where, okay, being a gymnast in the 80s is very different from what it is today. Okay.
I agree.
In the 80s, that the goal was that you were stick thin and that you did whatever the coach told you to do. You never opened your mouth. Today, it's different. The bodies are very strong. They're very powerful. The gymnasts have a voice now. So I sort of was under the old regime. But the one thing that it did teach me was a lot of grit. And I know the kind of work it takes to be a champion. And so that, I think, is what set me up for real estate. Because real estate, as you know, Cynthia, is not for the faint of heart.
It is not. And I think softball is going to be for the Olympics is going to be in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, softball
Yes,
and
yeah,
canoeing. Yeah.
okay, because I knew softball was because they have the big they do the
Yes.
College World
Yeah.
Series every year, and
Yes. Yes.
Oklahoma
Yes. Yes.
wins every year. They
Yeah.
did, but I follow that quite a bit. Yeah, and I mentioned earlier that my PhD is in biomechanics, and my first research was
Yeah.
doing Olympic gymnasts back in the 80s. It's
So
kind of
cool.
interesting.
Yeah.
But I wasn't at that higher level from that point of the kids that came to me were just starting their careers and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
very interesting. So that's pretty cool. And I understand that you did get your business degree in economics out of Georgetown. So obviously you've got that business background. And so, but you did some other things before you got into real estate. So what were some of the
Lots. I
business
tried it all.
lots? Okay. And that even,
So
yeah,
yeah.
go for it. Go for it.
Well, right out of college, I was a legal assistant at a major multinational law firm based in DC. And I did that because I thought I wanted to go to law school because my father and my grandfather and my grandmother and my other grandfather, they were all attorneys.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
yeah. And I will never forget the career counselor at Georgetown University was like, go work for a law firm before you decide to apply for law school. Lo and behold, he was exactly right. I realized very early on I could not sit still to study for the LSAT.
Good
We
choice.
joke,
Good choice.
yeah. My Karen Briscoe, who was my mentor for many years on our team, she and I joke, we're like real estate agents are like ADD. We have to be up, like moving around, like,
Right.
constantly. I did that. I did government consult. I worked in government consulting with a woman that I knew. I worked in commercial real estate and construction for literally a hot minute. And then the other kind of significant job I had before I kind of took a pause and had my kids, and then I got into real estate was with a company called MicroStrategy that back in the day during sort of the whole dot-com thing, they were sort of the darling of Northern Virginia. So Northern Virginia is
Oh yeah.
the hotbed
Okay.
for government contracting, and so therefore
Right.
attracts a lot of tech companies. Fast forward to today, MicroStrategy, like they own like more Bitcoin than any other like company in the
Wow.
world. That's their whole business model now. But what's so cool about it is the people that I met at these jobs when I was younger, they like resurface in your life in
True.
interesting ways. Like an
True.
attorney that I met right out of college ended up, we reconnected because they lived in my neighborhood where I live now. And then I helped them sell their house and buy a house. I mean, that was like 25 years later, but things like that. So
Oh, I know. I do a lot of traveling, and just recently for me from real estate, when I'm traveling, I'm always talking about real estate. And so I have sold houses to people that I've met on a resort, on a cruise, getting ready to go to Seattle for another cruise. And it's very interesting on just being able to share with people about real estate. And now I live in a beach town where people like to buy condos and on the beach and as vacation rentals and investment property. So
uh-huh.
your area is very high income area though, because
Yes.
of the government and everything. And so it appears that you do a lot of luxury homes and we I don't even think that, I think the highest priced even beach house is sold for here at $4 million. I mean, we're condensed in price.
Mhm.
But how is the luxury market there, especially when administrations come in and out and people,
Mhm. Yeah.
how does that impact your real estate business?
So it is interesting. We do, in fact, see the biggest impact on our market from the change in administrations on the luxury segment. And whether it doesn't matter what side of the
Right,
aisle you're on,
right.
whether they come from New York or Florida or California or whatever, wealthy people tend to gravitate where power is centralized.
Mhm.
And so we not only have seen people tied to the administration, we've seen people move in. Mark Zuckerberg bought a house. I mean, these people want access, okay? And they know that they need proximity. And so, okay, are they living here full time? No.
No.
But they, and so we've seen this, lots of movement in the luxury space. And before COVID, something that would sell for between $5 and $10 million was just like, oh my gosh. Now we've had probably a dozen sales just in Northern Virginia alone, maybe over the last year, 2 years, over 10 million. And a property just sold in McLean, another broker, for a record price ever off river. So if you're on the river, you get, if you
Right.
waterfront,
Yeah.
that's where the most valuable properties are.
Here too.
Just like
Yeah.
you, beachfront.
Yeah. Same thing with us. Yeah.
Yeah. So it is fascinating. And this is all even happening as, it's kind of a tale of two markets.
I know.
The Doge kind of
Yeah.
it impacted a lot of people.
A lot of people.
So,
I would say for
doing
your area as
Yeah.
far as in and out or
Yeah.
however that happens.
Yeah.
So your usual changeover, I guess, would be in an administration that goes if there's a massive exodus and coming in and things like that. So
Yeah.
you would see we're a military community, so we see that quite a
Sure.
bit always
Yeah.
coming. So are you up there as far as people coming and
Yes.
going?
Yeah, we do.
But the luxury market has always been very interesting because of just it's a different group of people. I mean, it really
Yes.
is. It's a different
Yeah.
group of people. And so why they're buying a house here, they're also buying a house there, and they're also buying a house wherever the family is.
Exactly. Exactly.
One of my realtors is a commercial pilot, and he flies for a beer distributor, and that's what they does. He's a glorified pilot. I mean, he just goes one place and takes them one place and then takes them another place, and then it's like a taxi cab.
Wait, he's a pilot for a beer distributor?
Oh yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yeah. We have two
Oh my
major
gosh.
ones in our area. Yeah. Oh, they
Wow,
have
that's
three.
cool.
They have two jets from in
Okay.
the major beer distribution. Interesting. And so, as far as the politics and everything that's going on in there, how do you now? I've been doing this for almost 30 years, so I have a huge referral database. And I would think that you have too from your amount of time that you've been in it. But do you see or do you find where the people are coming from? Do they find you from a referral base? How do these high-end people come to you or your company that you work with?
Yeah, it's all word of mouth because first of all, there's a lot of privacy.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
The client needs to know that their privacy is being protected. And then a lot of times it may not be the actual client, it may be their representative, right? Their financial representative, their attorney, whatever. And it's interesting. People always ask me, they're like, who are buying these houses, Lizzie?
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is what we see. We see kind of if it's the baby boomer, it might be an executive who's being moved here with a Fortune 500, like you see that, right? If it's let's just say a baby boomer. If it's a Gen X, a business owner that maybe started a business, was very successful, sold part of the position, and then
got lots of money.
Right, has lots of money and can buy up. The other thing that we're seeing, because I'm sure you've been talked about the great wealth transfer.
Yes.
Baby boomers transferring their wealth to their kids. We see a lot of that where you're like, okay, these two people work for like
yes, I know.
And the two government positions, but yet they're buying a $5, $6, $7 million house.
Yeah.
So that's sort of generational or family wealth. And so we're seeing that too. So
okay. Well, I would say, like you said, Zuckerberg has a place there. He's not going to call your firm and get in your back seat of your car and you drive him around. That's not going to happen.
The other thing that we have too are a lot of diplomats and diplomatic.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. This was in the Wall Street Journal recently, but the UAE owns a couple $100 million worth of real estate,
I'm sure.
in Northern Virginia. And there are other, the government of Saudi Arabia. So what's funny is that most of the international sort of investment goes to either LA, Miami, or New York.
Miami.
DC sort of flies under the radar. I think it's only it's less than 2% of the market is foreign investment. I am telling you, it is undervalued compared to Miami, the Miami Palm Beaches area, New York, and LA. It's undervalued. And so if I were an international buyer wanting to sort of park my money, I would come right here.
I know I have a friend down in Miami. She at one time had the highest sale was a $24 million condo. I said, "What?" And I said,
Yeah.
and she was, well, I said, "How did you do that?" Her whole mind, I'm going to try to get her on the show here to talk on the podcast because it's like she's from Poland. She was a professional tennis player. She goes overseas because, and that's where she finds her buyers. And that's, she works 3 or 4 months of the year and that's it because she doesn't need to work the rest of the time because she plays tennis and lives in Miami because they're parking their money in these condos and that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're bringing it over. And
Yeah.
so I guess from the standpoint too, and I have a little snippet here that you actually have some memorable dinner parties and networking events. Is that something that's true that
Yes.
you can share with us?
Yes.
How did
So,
that get started?
oh no, one of my kind of passions in my zone of genius, as you, if you will, is I love to bring people around a dinner table. So whether it be, I mean, I host a ladies' Christmas luncheon every year. Many of them are my clients. I try to host a dinner party in my home once a year. My problem is I love to go all out, and so it requires a lot of heavy
A
lifting, but
time.
I love that part of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But my most memorable one, literally, it was February 29th, 2020, and I
29.
hosted, and that was
Oh,
right, two
okay.
weeks before the shutdown.
Down. Okay.
And it was crazy. Just the whole setup. We had the chef come in and a lot of my friends, but they're also past clients too.
Right.
And we had so much fun. And I will never forget. One of my friends was there and she was like, I haven't been feeling this was February. Okay. This was before anybody knew what was going on.
That was going to happen. Yeah.
I wasn't feeling very well, but I got over,
Oh,
like, she said, down and it's like, and then another one of my friends, like, had been sick back in December. And this guy that she had sat next to in December 2023 had just come back from China. And then the
oh
person
man.
ended up, she's telling the story how he ended up dying. And back
Oh,
then, we knew nothing about
nobody
what
knew what
was
was going
going on. We
on.
had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
And we look back and we're like,
Oh
oh
my
my
gosh.
gosh, yeah.
It could have
So
been really bad. If your dinner party was you're having a great
I
time, and then
know,
2 weeks later,
I know,
oh my gosh.
I know. But
So you
I
do it on a
just,
regular basis. You try to have a one or two a year or something like that.
yeah, and one of my, and how people say, how do you sort of stay grounded and connected with, all the work you have going on? I love to make dinner for my family and sit around the dinner table. My kids are now, one's in college and one's going to be going to college soon, so I won't have that
Don't
much
be doing
anymore.
that anymore.
I know. And then with my friends, I really make time to get together with them to
Yes.
stay connected. So yeah.
Well, and I think from I am still friends with, and this was golly, 30 years ago, with the very first house I ever sold. with
Oh
with friends.
yeah,
Ben and
that's
Diane
great.
walked into the real estate office and Ben says, I with his checkbook, I'm buying a house today.
That's
And
great.
so between selling them a house and then our storm Hurricane Ivan came and they had to buy another house and then their kids got old enough and they got houses and then they all moved to Georgia.
Oh,
So we had to sell all the houses for them to move to Georgia.
oh,
And it was this son's wedding like 6 months ago or something. It's still part of the family after all this time of kids and grandkids now. And, that's real estate has always been something like that to me. A lot of friendships that I've made through real
yeah,
estate, helping
that's
people.
amazing. Yeah.
What, what's, and if you want to share, if there's any memorable experience, either good or bad, that you've had with a client or something that's happened in your real estate career that you can think of.
So, just piggybacking off of your first client, my very first client was a young family and they didn't have any kids. I helped them buy a new townhouse.
Mhm.
Then they had their first child, and that was in Arlington, Virginia. Then they
Okay.
had their first child and they wanted to move a little further out to get more space. So they moved to Oakton, Virginia. And so I helped them buy there and sell.
Right.
Um, and then they had a second child. And then they bought the first house they bought was from this one particular local builder. And then they loved it so much they bought another house right in
Same
Oakland.
good biller. Yeah.
Yeah, great builder, but a bigger house. And then they decided to move because he became the client became ill, was young with cancer. And thankfully everything's okay today. He, is in remission, everything, but just somebody's life changes on a dime. And for you to be able to be there to help facilitate just being in a better place, that's always stuck with me, that journey that I had the privilege of helping them make, in their lives. And so those things are very memorable. We have a lot of funny stories about how we got fired from clients and then rehired. And I don't, whatever, how we've learned the hard way to not work, to recognize red flags before we commit to working with people that, things like that. But in terms of really personal, somebody's journey.
And I think too, I mean, I came from academia, prior to getting into real estate. And so still that teaching mode and being in a relationship and trying and seeing that growth of somebody and the family and the kids and the grandkids. And it's like, oh my gosh, if you're in it long enough, you get to see it all. And being Aunt Cindy, which I'm really not their aunt, but they think I am, which is always the coolest part. Because I'm a big sports nut, so I'll take them to games. And one of the big things I do, you name it. Well, actually, Indiana Fever, I'm getting ready to go to Indianapolis on Sunday to watch them play. And I was in Atlanta when they won, and I went to Dallas and I went to San Francisco. So I've got friends all over. And so I watch the WNBA that way. Oh, talk about crazy is Indiana Fever in Atlanta. Drive up there. It's about a 4.5 hour drive from here. So I drove up. Friend I hadn't talked to in 20 years said on Facebook, hey, I want to go. You want? Okay, let's go. We're standing in line to get an autograph from one of the players, Sophie Cunningham. There's one of my former students from 35 years ago standing in the line. I go, Cook. And she goes, Dr. Tant. Nobody's called me that in a long time. So it was just like, and we had seats next to each other. How could that happen? In an arena for basketball, and you just meet somebody that you haven't seen in 35 years. And so that's been a lot of fun. And so, but have you ever had a seller or a buyer that you just go, I am going to shoot this person before the end of this transaction? It's like, I just had one, and I'm surprised I'm here today because how did you manage through that? Because I know how I did. I was just wondering, just how did you stay grounded and try to what are some of the things that
so I
to tell a new real estate agent you were going to have this happen to you?
So first of all, you in the beginning you're not going to know, okay? You got to have your mentor, you've got to have whoever it is that's guiding you. You've got to bounce it off them, right?
Need that person, definitely.
But the sort of what do they say? You start out as unconscious incompetence, like you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, they're doing. Yeah.
Right. And then you move all the way through, and then you're unconscious competence, right? Now I think it really is a skill to help people, to guide them through difficult situations, to manage their, I'm not in charge of their
expectations,
expectations, how to sort of, they're pushing their emotions onto you. And so how do you sort of manage that, right? Like, I don't want to deflect it and ignore it, but I also don't want to carry that burden either.
Correct.
Because at the end of the day, I can't, there's nothing I can do to make you happy, right? Happiness is a choice. So, but I think that, we always talk about bulletproofing the contract, right? There are technical things you can do to keep everything on. But we use a lot of feel, felt, found. I understand how you feel. Other clients have felt the same way, what we have found. So you're acknowledging, sometimes, honestly, they're not, like, if they come to you with a difficult situation or a difficult question, they're really not even looking for an answer. They just want you to listen to them.
Correct. No, I agree with that. I think the saying is, one mouth, two ears, listen, and then see if we can work through it. It's just, I don't think, and I've run across other agents too, and I know we have, that they just don't listen what you said and said, okay, you're not listening to me. This is what I need to do. Okay, how many times can okay, let's try this way. or and again, it's your communication with them too. So maybe you're not doing it. So how do I make it happen? But yeah, I thought I'd seen them all, but boy, I had a good one. And he literally texted me over 1,500 times, texting 1,500 times in a
Wow.
2 week period of time. And some of those texts were at midnight at night. And he goes, well, what do you have your phone on at midnight for? I said, why are you texting me at midnight? I said, I have a 94-year-old mom. If I'm not at her house with her, my phone is on in case something
Yeah.
happens, because my
Yeah.
brother's a caretaker. And if something were to happen, that phone's on. I know it's crazy, and then he kind of calmed down after I said that to him, which I would have done it the first week. But it's like he understood that we have boundaries. But I think I just had to, like you're saying, you had to set that boundary, and it got to a point where it was really good. So we did close yesterday, and I went, okay, are we going to go have a drink? He goes, how about a couple? I said, okay. And he's a good guy when it wasn't the transaction. That's what I could
Yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah.
He was a really good guy, but the very analytical engineer type, which I am too. So I kind of knew what was coming. And so but it was my assistant, she going, are you going to survive? I said, I don't know. And she's just kind of lived it with me. She's 28 years old. She's just getting started in the field, and she's learning quite a bit. Um, but as far as I'll tell you what do you see changing about real estate in the next 3 to 5 years? I know we just went through the big lawsuit and everything else and all that. We're not even going to talk about that. But what do you see in the next 5 years maybe happening in the real estate field?
So that's a great question. And we recently moved our team after being at Keller Williams for
Mhm.
16 years. We moved it
Wow.
to Serhant, which was started by Ryan Serhant in New York City. And then they expanded into Miami, the Palm Beaches, up the, east coast of Florida, Delray, all the way up into Georgia, the Carolinas, New York, Connecticut, New Jersey, Arizona, Hamptons, blah, blah, blah. Then July 1, they came into the DMV, and we're a founding team of Serhant. And the reason we moved our team is because, well, there were many reasons, but the future of real estate it is always going to be a people business, right? But where AI,
Oh,
technology, and media are headed, they have it figured out, and they have the vision and the execution. And so in order to make that leap into that sort of what they call real estate 3.0, we knew we needed to be a part of that movement. We have our group, HBC Group, was founded by a woman named Sue Huckabee in 1977 here in Northern Virginia. So
wow.
we have roots with
Right.
40 plus years of legacy in this market, which is, when you marry that up with the future, it's like the golden ticket, right? It's that type of experience plus the sort of future focus of real estate, and you combine those two things, we can deliver to our clients that what nobody else can. And so that, to us, is a very exciting time. So if you listen to, I don't know, I think like Mark Cuban, right? He
Hmm.
used to own the Mavericks, right? He
That
sold his,
Mavericks, yeah.
but they talk about sports, right?
Hmm.
That, it's really not just sports anymore. It's sports and media. It's all about how you capture the content and distribute it through
Distributed.
channels.
Yep.
So same thing with real estate. It's from, and at Serhant they talk about from content to community to commerce. So the young people, they do not watch regular TV,
No.
right?
Nope.
And they don't consume information from newspapers.
Nope.
It's from the palm of their hand. It's from social media, YouTube. I'm not on Reddit, but whatever you call that,
Right.
sites like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So we have to be where the next generation is coming to. And it's not just the next generation. That generation, just like you said, oh, I helped the parents, then I helped the kids, then I helped the cousins, then I helped them sell. So we want to capture, just like you did, the whole life
Right. The whole
cycle
life cycle.
of a client's, not just them, but their family members at wherever they are in their life cycle.
Right.
And so we feel that this sort of media first approach, married up with the good old fashioned client is first, customer service, high touch communication, the Serhant brand is the most recognized brand anywhere in the world online. That is where we feel like we can make our move in this shifting market, and at the end of the day, serve our clients better.
And that's amazing. I mean, is it, you say, I know you mentioned all the way up the East Coast. Are they also in the West Coast, or is it more
Just
East?
Arizona out
Okay.
west. Yeah.
Okay. So they're more up the East Coast and have
Yeah.
been branded that
And they're
way.
fully independent. I'm sure you saw the big news
Yeah.
yesterday about the big acquisition. It's just a different, it's just a different model,
Yeah.
and everybody has a place though in this business, right? Like, that's what's so great about the real estate landscape, that you as an agent, like, I always tell people, if you're getting into the business and you want to grow your business, like, go check out an organization that has great training and knows how to work with new people, right? If you want to join a team, go look at these. If you want this, go. So I feel like there's a place for everybody.
Well, and the biggest thing you've mentioned several times is having a mentor. And
Mm.
I'm at that point right now, but I still have other mentors that
Yes.
they're higher level, but I'm for the beginning, or whether, because I'm in the B&B market and also in long-term property management, I kind of went why versus somebody asked me, well, why don't you have like 200 agents? I said, oh, well, heck no, I would never want that to happen. I said, I'd rather go the other way and spread it out, different business model for me. But, if something's dying, you got money coming in from rental management and B&B investments. And so you got all this other stuff going on, and learning from those particular individuals too, especially in the B&B market, has been very interesting because of the technology that's being used in that market. And
Yes, it's fascinating.
and the number, now I manage all my own locally. I don't manage anything.
Right,
not doing
right,
Costa Rica. It's just not, I'm not in that
right.
model. A number of people that I know have homes all over the place that they're managing all online. They get the owners, they go through the whole thing, and they're doing pretty well by doing
Mm.
it. How are you doing 100? What? Two? What? I can't even imagine it. But
Yeah, I
most of
think
it,
the technology gives you leverage.
right,
That's how they're
right.
able to do the 100 properties, right?
Mhm,
And
mhm.
have the business model actually work, you know?
Right,
Yeah.
right. And sometimes it does lose the personal part of it. I think I do, like, because I'm in my office building right now, but it's a historical home which has 3 Airbnbs too. So I run into a lot of people, and because we have so much to do in Pensacola, whether it's the seafood festival or whatever's going on, we're right downtown. Where do you see? Where can I go see stuff? What kind of food to go into the beach? So I have that. Actually, it's kind of been a good lead source because I think I've sold close to 25 homes, investment properties, from people who came to stay as a B&B.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I
That's
advertised
an
that.
interesting. That is so interesting. So my mentor Karen Briscoe owns several rental properties in the
Mhm.
DMV, and she has this thing where, if you would like to go buy a house, I'll help you and I'll let you out of the lease, kind of thing. So the same thing, like,
Right.
but the short term is so brilliant because they just want to get a taste of what it's like to be there. And then you can help guide them. Gosh, could we own a second home here? Could we retire here? Whatever.
Yeah, and being a vacation destination on the beach, which we're very
Mhm.
well known for beautiful white beaches and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Plus, we're pretty less expensive than other places. Like
Yeah.
Miami is too out of control, but
Yeah.
we're the Redneck Riviera, we're here, and so our price points are a lot lower. Like
Yeah.
our average price per house here is $315,000.
Okay.
And that's not including the beach place, is obviously a little bit higher, but people will come in and the ones that aren't the multi millionaires can buy their second home or their investment property or
Yeah.
their
And
Airbnb,
be in Florida.
and be in Florida. Yeah. And the gals that I showed today, it was so funny. One of the gals I met on where was it? Mexican resort. they bought a house here. I Airbnb'd it for them for 3 years because they were going to retire like in 5. And they said, "Oh, we're out of here." So they came and their friends were in town. And so last night they said, "Hey, our friends want to look at buying a house." So they go, "What are you doing?" I said, "Nothing right now." It's like 6 o'clock. And so this whole thing, well, and so I showed them houses today. And so they're going to buy one because then I gave them all the numbers. And that was just because last night I went to dinner and played bingo. And so it's very interesting how different markets, like you said, I love what you said. It's still a relationship business.
Yes.
And you never know who you're going to meet. I'm working with a
Yes.
Canadian couple right now that 3 years ago, they asked me to come look at a property they wanted to buy for a B&B rental in Pensacola. And I said, "Oh, the numbers are not going to work. This area is not going to work." And they appreciated that I was honest with them that they didn't go and buy something that what they weren't ready for. So they just contacted me again and we're back to looking again. So it's kind of interesting. I try to stay in touch with people, but man, sometimes that's hard. What are some of the things that you do to try to stay in touch with those people from a technology standpoint, websites? What kind of tech stack do you use for your type of
Yeah,
getting
so we do a
track?
combination of
Yeah.
old fashioned and new technology. So we still send out postcards.
Really?
But yeah, I know it's interesting. We've found it to be very effective. We do just listed, just sold, and then we have a
Hmm.
sphere and a farm.
Hmm.
And we're actually going through a whole brand refresh right now with having joined Serhant. And so the new look and feel will be rolled out probably in another month. But it's really, believe it or not, we consistently get calls off of our postcards. Now, on the back
Postcards.
end, all the software is managing all of that, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we're getting ready to kind of change the system of that on the back end, which we're so excited about, just to make it more streamlined and efficient and more cost effective. And then in terms of, we don't do any sort of third party leads. We don't do that. Everything is
Yeah.
referral based. But, really digging into your database
Hmm.
and pick the 1, 2, 3 types of functionality that are going to help you to track your clients, track your business, have that habit of following up with them
Following up.
regularly. And I
Right.
do a
Yeah.
lot of phone calls. I do a lot of entertaining. Again, we don't, oh, and then obviously the social media. I mean, that's
Yeah.
like the huge part of our business. Original content that really
Original. Yeah.
reflects.
I've got this kid in, well, now he's back at Florida State, but he joined me for the summer and he started doing TikTok. I don't know. I just said,
Yeah.
let's do the one that got like, I can't believe it, it's still going like 120,000 views on it or something, was me
Yeah.
going to serve an eviction notice to a house. I said, "Why is that important to anybody?" I'm just walking up the steps, and this is a person who won't contact me back. They're not paying their bill. Here's my letter. Okay, I've got to put the letter on the door. Got to take a picture of it. Oh, the doorknob fell off. So I got not the doorbell fell off. So I picked up the doorbell to put the doorbell back on. And I can't believe it. I said,
That
"Why would
is so
anybody
funny.
watch this?"
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But it really is that authentic
Yeah,
content that reflects really your character and values,
yeah,
but then also that you're kind of like, you're not taking yourself too seriously. Like those are the things, and
right.
we're learning constantly. Like we just got back from our Serhant conference where we just were blown away at it. We kind of intuitively know this and we talk about it, but we just really are leaning on creating authentic content that reflects who we
Wait,
are and you actually you build these relationships online. I mean, look, people,
I
I mean,
know.
I didn't find my husband on an online dating app because I met him before all that was even
It
there.
happened.
That's, I
Yeah,
mean, look,
yeah,
I mean, it's the same thing.
yeah, yeah.
So we're just really
Well, this,
working on being in tune.
yeah,
Yeah.
that social media, it's fun. So he's fairly funny. He goes, "No, we're doing everything for you." I said, "But I want to retire. I don't need to have everything about me." But one day we went, I do not drink coffee. And they're both, oh, he's only 21 and my assistant's 28. So they go, "Well, we're going to go and we're going to check out a couple of coffee places. We're going to get the same kind of drink and then we're going to rate them. And he's going to do a thing on it." Well, I don't even like coffee. So here I am having to taste this coffee. They all have the same drink. And the first place we went to, I go, I guess I have to say, I'm just not a coffee drinker, and it's like, but it's a 6.2. I mean, we were kind of being silly about it. And then they like coffee. And then the second place we go to, and we're also in there, we know the coffee people that are working. And it said, well, they did, I didn't. But it was just like, the next one I just spit the thing back up. I said, this is terrible. How can anybody drink this coffee? And so we did three. We put it all together. It's awesome. We've had so many comments about the coffee, but we were
A
promoting.
good idea. I'm going to do the coffee wars in downtown McLean. I'm
Oh,
going to do that.
do it. Yeah, we did three places, and right in the middle of it, it poured down rain. So we said,
Ah,
okay, we're walking down. We said, oh, here's the Bavarian place. Let's go have a beer in between the three coffee spots. I mean,
you're
just
having a
just
beer.
have
That's
we're
funny.
just having a
Yeah.
good time. So he's come up with a bunch of ideas, and what does Cindy say, and everything. And he's been promoting a bunch of stuff,
Yeah, I love
and
that. What does Cindy say, right? Like that's
yeah,
kind of your hook, right? And then
right,
that's your
yeah,
we were just having a team meeting about that this morning. Each one of us, right? It's HBC group, but each
right,
one of us, it's like, what's your hook, right? And what
right,
does it
right.
say? Like, perfect.
What would you
Yeah.
want to say? Or they say doc sometimes. Hey doc, what's going on? I go, and people don't really
Yeah.
call that me anymore. It just
What's
depends
up,
on where
Doc?
I
Yeah.
taught. Yeah, stuff like that. And I kind of introduce myself sometimes as, hey doc Cindy,
I
or
love
depending
that.
on where you
Yeah.
lived is what you would call me.
Yeah.
But as
Yeah.
far as your we're going to finish up here. This has been wonderful. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank
How can
you.
anybody watching you, how can we get in touch with you, especially if doing referrals and bringing people back and forth to the DC area?
Oh, well, that's so kind of you. The best way to reach me is honestly, you message me on Instagram. My personal Instagram is at econroyva. That's kind of my
Okay.
personal business. And
Conroy,
then
VA.
we have an HBC group, and then also my website, hbcgroup.re.com. And kind of our whole story is told on there. Those are really the two best ways to message me. And my phone number and everything is up. You can just Google
Of
my
course,
name,
just for your
Lizzy
name. I know. It's
Conroy.
like we're all over the place. It's like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh. And then what is there any last little tidbits you'd like to give to the group that maybe a new person, maybe not, just something that in real estate that maybe has challenged you? What would you like to finish up for this group?
Yeah, I would say that if you're at a point just in your year or in your career where you are like stuck, right? And you're like, "Oh, I just don't know if this is for me. I don't know what to do, or the business isn't coming my way." A couple things. One, really do a deep dive and a come to Jesus on your activity level. Are you doing the lead
Right.
generating activities, right? And then the other thing is, are you at the right place? Are you at the right firm? Are you with the right people? And because surrounding yourself with the people that energize you, that actually I another reason I moved is I wanted to be at an organization where I was being really challenged, right? Like
Very good.
in gymnastics, I used to be
Very
the
good.
best one in I don't want to be the best one. I want there to be somebody better so I can go after them, or emulate them or learn from them. Get a mentor if you're new. Get a mentor if
Even
you're
if,
if you've been in the business a long time, if you're
right.
experienced. Business coach is a must. And then just really do a deep dive on, am I spending my time doing the most important things? So,
Well, I think too, the persona of what a real estate agent is now has changed. I mean, when we first got in, you just went and sold a house,
right,
and the bit you really didn't think of yourself as a business owner,
right.
and that motivation, and you're an entrepreneur. I mean, you're building your
Yes,
business.
exactly.
So I think that's really changed, and the younger people coming up, they see it right away. A
Uh-huh.
lot of them don't have first careers. I'm finding they're going into real estate as a career,
Mm,
which probably most of us had other careers, many other
yes.
careers, like you and me
Mm.
both. And so that's kind of been a to watch them. The other thing I found, are you finding that your buyers, they don't want to do anything to the house. They want it to be move-in ready. I don't even want to put a light bulb in. If it's not ready to go, I'm not interested. That's what we're finding with our buyers down here.
I would say in general, yes. The market, the buyers have become very particular and
Yeah,
they don't want to do any heavy lifting. And I think just it's time and money, right? They don't want to use their time and they don't want to use their money to do stuff like that. Now,
right.
there still is a segment of the buyer population
Yeah,
who will, but
yeah.
in as a rule of thumb, yes, that's what
Yeah,
we're seeing.
I've seen that shift. I wanted to ask you that before. I know I kind of got
Yeah.
off at the end here. I'm going to let you go. I
Okay.
appreciate the time you've spent
Thank
with me
you.
today.
That's a wrap on this episode of Sip, Sell, Repeat. If you loved what you heard, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with another powerhouse woman in real estate. Got a topic you want me to cover? Send me a message. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, keep sipping, keep selling, and keep repeating that cycle of success. Cheers to you and your next big deal.